Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Social Selling Secrets webinar sponsored by Insurance WebX. And today we're going to talk about how you can transform ordinary storytelling into extraordinary fables and fortunes virtually and in real life. I'm Barbara Rozgonyi, your presenter, and I'm so excited that you're joining me today. So let's get started with a quote. I always think it's fun to set the stage. And this was taken on Saturday night. We had a blue moon, and that means that you have two full moons in 1 month. It was Halloween night. And this was taken in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I live. I think it's really interesting that there's a red rim around the moon. And here's a quote from W. Clement Stone: "Aim for the moon. If you miss, you may hit a star." And I love this quote because with our clients, we often talk about moonshot marketing. You know, if you could go anywhere, how far and how high would you go? And along the way, you'll see a lot of stars. So let's take that as our thought for today and keep going. Well, let's look at where we are now. And boy, what a year 2020 has been, right? I mean, just so many different things have happened. And to sum it all up, I looked for some stats, and I looked at these stats from McKinsey and Company, and they really tell us what's going on in consumer behavior. And so as someone who is marketing financial services and insurance products, I think it's really important for you to see what's been going on with consumer behavior this year. And I found this fascinating. So there's 5 different elements. The first is people are shifting to value and essentials. So discretionary spending is way down 20 to 40%. That's probably not too surprising because we're not going out to restaurants as much as we used to, no movies, no theater, wow, no sporting events, no travel, and just no on the discretionary income. The good news for that is, though, all the money that's not being spent on fun stuff can be shifted to essentials like financial planning. And there's where do people buy these products now? Well, there's a flight to digital and omni-channel. So people are buying more and more online. I'm sure you're doing that too. And it's just the trend of the future. One big surprise for me was the shock to loyalty. 73% of US consumers have changed stores, brands, or the way they shop. So it's a great opportunity to step in as kind of an unknown because people aren't as loyal as they used to be. And it's also a homebody economy, which isn't too surprising because people are staying at home. And now that the weather's getting colder in some cities around the country and the north, then of course you don't want to go anywhere. And the last one is there's a new holiday outlook. So there's a 25% decrease in net holiday spending. So what this all means to you is you've got some great opportunities. People have more money to invest. They want to invest online. They're open to looking at new sources for that, new brands. They like to stay home, and we've got the holidays coming up, but instead of people saying we're going to be spending a lot on the holidays, now there's open opportunity there as well. And what are they doing online? I find this fascinating. You probably get these texts or updates from your phone, your iPhone. I know I do, and it's like, this is how much time you spent on the internet in the last day or the last week, and it's always like, really, that much time? Well, everyone is more and more online, and this is from Nielsen. This talks about how people are accessing current events and global news via mobile, and a change over a year from March 2019 to March 2020. We can see it's gone up 215%, and I imagine it's even more than that now when we're 6-8 months past March. So this is a time for you to really be thinking about what you want to do with your business. So this program, this short learning opportunity, is right for anyone who wants to take a leap ahead into the future. And you really want to just leap into opportunities that maybe you haven't taken as much advantage of in the past, and now you can. So you're a risk taker, but in a good way. You want to make sure that you're on the right path. And I kind of look at it as somebody who's looking for a trail. And when we moved to Charlotte from Glen Ellen, I became more of a trail hiker. I like to walk before, but when you look for the trail that you want to go on, you want to choose a path that takes you to a destination you want to reach. So here, do you want to go to a waterfall? Do you want to go to a summit? What do you want to do? And then you want to look at the difficulty of the trail. Do you want it to be moderate, extreme, easy? What's the terrain going to be like? And maybe most importantly, you need to have the right gear. So for us, we wear hiking shoes that have grips on slippery surfaces and really give you the confidence. So this program today is right for anyone who wants to feel like they're equipped, outfitted, and you've got the vision that you're looking for. It is not right for people who already know it all, and that's fine, because you know what? If you do know it all, then you might not need any more information. And that's great, because if you found a program that works for you, I just think that's wonderful. I applaud you. Also, for people who are happy with their business as it is now, it's going perfectly, and maybe you're just curious, that's fine. But if you're not really ready to dive in and take action, then this program is not really right for you. If you are just kind of experimenting with being online, it's still okay to be here, because I think what you're going to do is feel much better about what you can do. So let's take a step back and just say, well, who are you? So is this you? And when you look at the top reasons that companies falter and have challenges with marketing, whether it's a big company, a small business, or a financial advisor, it usually comes down to lack of visibility, leads, know-how, time, those kinds of things. And if that's you and you are suffering from a lack of any of these things, you might look like that. Your prospects might not even see you. You're just behind a cloud somewhere. So what we want to do is we want to take you from here to here. And when you have a success route that you know how to follow and you can go down the road to where you want to be, you can take your clients with you. Because after all, that's why they hire you. They have goals and dreams and visions, and you're the one that's going to help them be successful. And it just feels so good. I know you all can think of your clients that you love helping, and good things happen. It just makes you feel so good when you know where the road to success is. So here's what we're going to learn today. We're going to learn a 4D system that you will never see anywhere else, because I made it up. And it's been presented to companies all across the world. And it's based on 4 different quadrants: digital visibility, direct lead gen, dynamic storytelling, and data budget, or ROI. So you can see from each of these, they address the major challenges that you have in your business. And that's why I'm so excited to present this to you today. And before we really take off and fly, I do want to let you know there is a bonus. So if you stay with us a little bit longer, I'll be happy to give you a download that's really going to help you improve your LinkedIn. So you might be thinking at this time, who is she and why did she get here? And sometimes I ask myself that too. I am a mentor with Insurance WebEx, and that's why I'm here today. My background in insurance goes way back to my first job out of college, where I helped insurance agents get leads with Dun & Bradstreet. And so my job was to work in the regional office and help them sell health insurance to small businesses, which was really, I thought, I don't know what my job was going to be like, but it wound up to be very, very interesting, because I learned a lot about the selling process. I learned what made people successful, habits, talents, all those things. And I learned a lot about business in general. So it was a great, great opportunity. And then I decided, well, this is so cool. I'm just going to go into direct sales. And I nosedived all the way down to the bottom. I was the absolute worst salesperson in the world, at least in that company. I wasn't even on the charts. I was so bad. So I tried to quit. And my boss said, no, you don't have another job, do you? And I said, no, I don't. So I transferred to a new territory, which was back home in Chicago. I went from Indiana to Chicago, and I started studying what makes people successful. And I wound up being the person that wasn't even on the list to the one who led the whole company in sales. I won a trip to Hawaii, and it was so exciting that I caught the attention of a recruiter who was looking for someone to be a national sales manager for a company owned by Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So I went over there, and my job was to teach health insurance reps at Blue Cross and Blue Shield how to sell life insurance. Did they want to do that? No way. No, 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 no. Especially from this young woman who walked in, because some of them were like, they'd been there already 30 years, and they were like, what can I learn? So it was one of the bigger challenges I had, but also a big opportunity. So we worked together, and I came up with a program to increase their sales by 400% in some areas. So that was all wonderful. But then we started our family, and I had to do something different. So I started my company, Corey West Media, named after my mother and grandmother. And fast forward to me on the stage at MDRT in Vancouver. And this was my dress rehearsal for a room set for 1,500 people, where I was going to tell them about LinkedIn. And there's a whole backstory to this about how I didn't really think I belonged on the stage. And I submitted my proposal, and I wound up not only presenting there, but also presenting as well in the exhibit hall. So they gave me 2 opportunities to present. And then the reviews I got from folks. And it's really, when I teach people, it's not about me, it's about what you can do with what you hear. So take a moment right now to just have, if you have, I don't know if you want to do notes on your computer or if you like a pen and paper, but as ideas come to you, write them down, because that's really how you're going to get the most out of this. And you might be like the person in the audience who was from Africa, and they sent me an email a year later and said, "Thank you so much. I used everything you said, and now I have 3,000 new connections." And I was like, what? And then just a couple of months ago, someone who was there, this was in 2016, who was there from Central Europe, sent me the video of me speaking on the exhibit floor and thanked me. So you just never know where your work is going to go. And I just want to thank you again for being here. And if you want to know more about what I do, and if you're really interested in my educational opportunities in the insurance and financial services industries, you can go to my mentor page on Insurance WebEx, and you can follow me there. You can read my articles, you can watch videos, and then there's a special section for followers only where you'll get exclusive information. So let's jump into the very first one, which is digital visibility. Visibility is huge these days, and it all really comes down to your reputation. It's great to be visible, but you have to have a good reputation. I mean, you can be everywhere, but if you don't have a good reputation, it really doesn't matter. So let's talk about some ways that we can get you really good visibility. The first is through LinkedIn searches. And boy, there's a lot of competition out there. I did LinkedIn searches for financial services and financial advisor. So you can see 19 million people over that have the term financial services in their LinkedIn bio, and 79,000 are in the Charlotte metro area alone. Then for financial advisor, a little bit closer term, almost 600,000 people have the term financial advisor in their LinkedIn bio, and 4,500 of them are in the Charlotte metro area. So there's a lot of people out there, you would think. Let's go find out. Well, the next thing you can do is look for financial advisor in Charlotte, and you can see Google doesn't think there are very many on their map. And the reason I want you to really look at this is because when you have people who are looking for what services you provide, if someone was looking for financial advisor in Charlotte, this is what they would see. And the way these people or these companies got their name on the map is pretty simple. They used a Google My Business page. There are other ways of doing it as well, but this is a really easy way to do it. So if you are an independent advisor, or maybe if your company offers promotional services, maybe you already have a Google My Business page. But if you don't, it's very easy to set one up. And it's almost like having a website. Actually, it is a website where you can put things like images, videos, blog posts. People can also leave reviews, so you do have to watch those. And I know with FINRA regulations, it's hard to reach out and say, hey, can you review me? So anyway, this is Google My Business, and check it out if that's something you want to look into. Another way is Angie's List. Now, Angie's List, who would look for a financial advisor on Angie's List? I know, right? I mean, I use Angie's List to find contractors, but here, according to Angie's List, there are 12 top-rated financial advisors in your area and 139 to avoid. Well, what happened to all those other folks? You know, I don't know where they went, but anyway, these are the kinds of places people will be looking for a financial advisor. The next place is Yelp. Great for restaurant reviews, salons, or if you need a plumber like my friend who lived in a rural area of Pennsylvania did one day. I said, just go on Yelp, put in what you want as far as your plumbing situation, and you'll get calls. They did, they got the plumber, everybody was happy. But financial advisors, well, Yelp really does market itself to businesses. I've spoken at conferences where they've been there too. And it's great. You can set up a free Yelp page. Once again, people can leave reviews. I would caution you though, if this is something you want to try, keep in mind that they will very quickly try to sell you advertising. I don't think this is where you want to advertise, but if you're looking for ways to grab more search real estate, Yelp is another place. And you can see that there aren't very many financial advisors in Charlotte, according to Yelp. So there's a lot of opportunity for visibility. Another thing you can do is Google your name. And if you haven't done this recently, do it, because I can tell you your prospects are going to be Googling you, looking at you on LinkedIn. They're going to be searching everywhere, and they'll compare you to whoever else they'd be talking to. So this is what comes up when you search me on Google. It says I have 69,000 results. If you put quotation marks around Barbara Rozgonyi, you'll probably go way down. But anyway, it gives you an idea of what kinds of search results you might get. And Howard, I see that you have a question. I'm going to get to those just a little bit later. Then, you can see LinkedIn is here. My site that really has the most traffic is Wired PR Works. It's number 3. And my Barbara Rozgonyi doesn't get as much traffic, but since it's my name, it's number 1. So this is Google Images. If you have not looked at Google Images for yourself, you should just check and see what comes up. I think it's fun because there's a broad array of images here. You can see one even with Mari Smith, who she and I have known each other since I think 2007, when she was the Pied Piper of Facebook, and now she's the queen of everything Facebook marketing. So on a scale of 1 to 5, where is your visibility right now? And I want you just to take a check and weigh in on, where do you think your search visibility is right now? 1 would be maybe you have something somewhere, and 5 would be, boy, when people search for whatever your keywords are, you come up on top. But what are some tools you can use to get found faster? And here are a few you can use. 1 is SEO, which is search engine optimization. It sounds kind of scary, but really all it is the keywords people use to type in to find you. So it could be something like insurance agent for small business owners, insurance agent for women business owners, those kinds of things. It could have your town. If you're looking at college planning as maybe an area you want to focus on, you can add that as an SEO term. The next thing is relevance. So how relevant are you to where your people are? And this again relates to areas and niches. The next thing is frequency. If you aren't posting and updating and keeping things fresh and alive, you're not going to be found as fast. And then directories. We looked at a few of those: Yelp, Google My Business, and then alignment. So are you in alignment with what you want to do? You really need to think about your goals and think about, is your visibility aligning you where you want to be? So your to-do, at the end of each one of these, we're going to have a to-do, and your to-do is simple. It's Google you. Another thing you can do if you want to search yourself is if you have an iPhone, Androids do this too, but on iPhone, you can say, Siri, tell me about your name. And so when you do that, you can see what Siri is bringing up. And voice search is really, really becoming a huge marketing opportunity. So see how you come up. I know once I asked Siri, tell me about Barbara Rozgonyi, and I don't know where she found it, but she found a picture of my sister and I at my son's graduation. It was really nice. And I was like, I did not try to get that search result. I don't know what was happening. But then I tried doing SEO for social selling speaker. And I said, Siri, find a social selling speaker. And I came up like at number 1. So it's really fun to play with. And when you do it right, it's really wonderful, because that's going to give you more visibility. And it's also going to help you attract leads. And that's our next topic, which is lead generation. You're probably familiar with the concept of a funnel, which is leads that turn into prospects, that turn into customers, that turn into a sale. And that's really what lead generation is about. And today we're really just going to talk about the top of the funnel, which is building awareness. And that's what visibility does. And we're also going to talk about some tools that are going to help you really get the awareness that you need. There's a lot of different ones here. If I was talking to you in person, I'd say, let's do a show of hands, and just to see what you're all using right now. I'm sure most of you are probably using email. Email is a great channel. And if you don't have an email list, get started on one now. It's really easy to do. And there's so many great programs out there that are free or very low cost. It's probably one of the most efficient ways to market at the lowest amount of investment. The next thing is social media. I wish it was more social in person, but not yet. So social media, and really focus on where your people are. I'm going to guess for most of you, LinkedIn is probably the place to be, although Facebook groups are really, really active, sometimes even more so than LinkedIn. The next is events. Now, these are all going to have to be virtual right now. They can't, well, you probably could do some in person. I know some people are doing some things outside. And I did do a program earlier this year on Insurance WebEx on how to reframe events. That was before COVID. So, but you'll still find some really interesting ideas about what to do differently to get attention and really brand yourself. The next is direct mail. Postcards are very inexpensive to send. You can even look at connecting with a local artist. I know I have a lot of friends that are card artists, which I didn't really know there was such a thing, but I always thought there was, but now it's really taking off. So if you want to partner with an artist to give yourself a little bit more of a brand, you can do that. Webinars are really fantastic. And it doesn't even have to be you. I know there's problems with FINRA, I shouldn't say problems, but guidelines. You will have a problem if you really promote yourself in a way you're not supposed to. But if you promote other people, then you're really going to get a lot of visibility and you're going to get some good leads. So for example, if your target is parents, what are parents having the most challenge with right now? Probably trying to school their kids at home. So if you have a webinar with how to help your kids in school from your home, and you have a local expert, it could be a teacher, then you bring them on, people will sign up for that. So you've automatically got some leads generated. If you want to keep going, you could do a whole series, almost make it like a Netflix series where you've got 8 different speakers. You can do a virtual summit. There's a lot of different things you can do. You can get as carried away as you want. But the bottom line is when you partner with people and you collaborate, then people associate you as being the one that's helpful, even though you're not the one that's really selling anything, you're just offering advice. So that's one way to do it. And then get comfortable with Zoom. If you're not comfortable with Zoom already, I've been using Zoom for a long time. I do like it. It's super easy. Share a screen record, and you can transcribe if you want to do that too. But the good news is, one of the nice things about having this opportunity to really get on a different track is people are much more adept and willing to get online. And you can use Zoom for client calls, interviews, and I just think it's really wonderful. So take a look at your toolbox and see what you could add. So I'm going to give you some examples of how to build awareness in lead gen. And if you're looking at how do I really promote my local community, this is an example of a post I did on LinkedIn. We relocated to Charlotte from Glen Ellen in May of 2019. So we've been here about 18 months. I've fallen in love with Charlotte. I like Charlotte. I'd only been here once for 30 hours, I think, before we decided to move here. So it was, you talk about a leap of faith, it was a giant leap of faith. But anyway, I do like it. So I posted this, looking to relocate to a top 10 city, take a look at Charlotte. And then there's more. It talks about how Charlotte moved up from 20 to 6. So 14 spaces. And people really like this, especially the people from Charlotte. So 884 views of the post in the feed, 20 likes, and I got, I don't know, 3 or 4 different shares. So it kind of positioned me as someone who was a leader in Charlotte. And I've kind of been seen as a leader in Charlotte ever since we moved here because I use the hashtag Charlotte. Isn't that really, that's not even that, exciting of a tactic, but it does work. So think about that. The next one is, have you used a poll on LinkedIn? And a poll is a great way to ask people what they think. And some of the polls are big flops. I have one up there right now that has 3 answers. This one had 33 votes, 32 views of the post in the feed, and it was about soft skills in 2020. Now, what happened here was you've got people who have voted, but there was a really rich discussion in the comments. And people really nominated their own top skill for 2020. Empathy was a big one. People really thought we needed empathy, and I agree with that. So lots of different comments. I even had people, one person from China, I had a person from England who wrote a personal message to me and said, why can't I vote? And I'm like, well, the poll is closed. They only last a week. But if you ask people questions, they like to answer them. And these are so quick. They just click an option and they're ready to go. So that's another way to generate leads. What you can do is you can see who commented, you can thank them in your comments, or you can reach out to them as well. You being the person who posted the poll is the only one who can see how people voted. So, you know, I don't think you want to say, hey, Joe, Betty, Sally, Sue, Phoebe, and Warren, thank you so much for voting for creativity. But if you know these folks are interested in whatever that answer was, then you could reach out to them individually. So kind of a fun thing to try. So just some basic direct practices. Do personalize. Personalization has been a really hot trend in marketing for probably the last 3 or 4 years. And really long before that, everybody in direct mail has known about personalization forever. But what you want to do is you do want to personalize, and even something like a LinkedIn invitation. I got an invitation from someone who said, I don't like to send canned LinkedIn invitations. That's why I'm personalizing this message. And I couldn't find any personalization. Not even my name was personalized. So I thought, wow, that's interesting, you know. So if you do want to personalize a message, if like even a connection request, you can say, I'm looking to connect with people in whatever field it is or in your town. You don't have to get too in depth. If it's somebody who's a leader or even someone who's written a book you like, you can write a little bit more about why you're connecting. My favorite is going on a virtual event, writing down the names of the people, or downloading the transcript, or even while we're on the webinar or class, I will reach out to them on LinkedIn and say, hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, and then you're connected right there. The next thing is don't automate, or do automate, sorry, don't analog. So by automation, that would be your whole lead generation process, and especially with email. But if you've got, it's kind of like a series of triggers, and I'm sure you already have this worked out. If you don't, work on it, because it makes it so much easier. But if a person takes one action, then another action follows that. So it's really an automated workflow, because if you do analog, it's going to take forever. Things are going to fall between the cracks. It's not going to be as seamless, and it's going to take way too much time. And then do keep it short and don't go on and on and on and on and on. And I've gotten to the point, even with personal emails, where I try and keep it to 5 to 6 sentences, and that's it, because I don't know, most people are looking at their phones and their eyes glaze over. And if you look at LinkedIn, after you accept a connection request from someone and then they dump 200 words on you with 5 links, I don't know, it's too much. People just don't have the time for it. They want things short and sweet. So those are some direct best practices. So let's weigh in here. On a scale of 1 to 5, where's your lead gen right now? Is it doing okay? Does it need to be tuned up? Does it need a complete overhaul so that you're more of a social sales person instead of, I guess it's more of a hybrid now. You don't have to be virtual 100%, and you probably don't want to be, but how can you be a better hybrid salesperson? So here's your to-do. Target your prospects where they are RN, which means right now. So where are they? And it's a good time to look around and see, like if you're looking for folks in your area. I used to live in Glen Ellen. There's all kinds of community boards where people chat. Here in Charlotte, same thing, but it's a little bit of a bigger town. Even next door, that's a place. It's not really a marketing site, but figure out where your people are hanging out online specifically. So that's your to-do. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about, this is the third, we're about halfway there. We got one more after this, is storytelling. And storytelling is the best marketing. I do believe that. I love storytelling, but you know what? You can have a really great story, but if you have everything else in place, it really doesn't matter. But the bottom line is a lot of people don't have great storytelling. And one of the fun things I've been doing during COVID is I've been working with networking groups. So we have a program at 60 minutes, or it could be shorter, but it's usually 15 minutes to 20 minutes presentation about how to do storytelling Then we go to a breakout where everyone practices their storytelling. And then we come back and people tell the story they learned to retell. And it's really been fascinating because these are people who have been talking about how they do business in their networking group for a long time. And boy, it's just so interesting to see how they can transform and just shorten their story and just do a great job. So how do they do that? They do that with CPR micro stories. And this is a process I came up with. So CPR means to recharge and revive, and it's a 3-step process. It's the challenge, process, and result. So what we want to do is we want to think about what challenges is the hero of the story having. And quite often when people talk about their business story, they talk about themselves. And that's not really what we're talking about. The hero of the story is your best client, the person you really, really want to help, the person who's struggling, who really needs somebody to help them achieve their goals. They're on a quest, and you're going to be the person who is going to guide them to where they want to be. So challenge is the first part. The next part is process. What process do you use? So that gives you an opportunity to describe how they're going to get the result that they wanted. So for instance, if their challenge is they want to do retirement planning, but they don't know where to start. And let's face it, there's so much that goes into play. I mean, how much do you save? What's the stock market going to do? Like, how much should you have in stocks? What kind of mix do you want? Is the 401k going to work its way in as well? There's a lot. So you're going to help them figure out the best mix by using a process. And the process is whatever you want to say that you do. It's planning. You probably do some models. You probably even have your own proprietary words for what it is that you do. And then the result is they can sleep better at night. They make more money. And in, 5-10 years, whatever it is, they've achieved their goals. So it's kind of like, it's a very good story. It's a story that has a happy ending. There are some stories that don't have a happy ending if they don't work with you and they have all these challenges, and the process is that they try to manage it all themselves. And along the way, they make some mistakes. They lose a lot of money. They don't invest right. And the result is, oh, well, not so good. So anyway, you can use this all throughout your day if you just want to practice it. And your customer journey map is a place to really think about it too. So who is your best customer? Why do you like working with them? Where are they when they come to meet you? Are they somebody who has a certain amount of funds already? Are they somebody who's just starting out? What do they want to do? Why are they working with you, and how are you going to get it done? So those are some questions you can ask as well. It needs to be so smooth and effortless that they feel comfortable and they have a lot of confidence in working with you. So what are the tools you can use to do this, to do your dynamic storytelling? Well, one thing that isn't on here, but it should be throughout all of it, is emotion. So you need to have emotion in your storytelling, because if it's not emotional, then it's not really going to be a good story. The tools you can use to do this are blog posts. So if you like to write, you can do that. Although we're seeing that video is going to be more and more and more and more of what people want to consume. And I don't know that's what we all want to produce, but anyway, videos are really what people like to watch. Podcasts are great if you like to be, I want to say on the radio. I guess it is a virtual radio, but if you want to have your own show, a podcast is good. Discovery sessions are a way where you can really find out right away, is this client somebody you want to work with, or this prospect, I should say, before they become a client? Because let's face it, some people might seem like they're okay, but maybe they're the type of person who just does not want to invest, or they don't want to buy, or they don't want to follow your advice, or sometimes you get in a situation with partners where one wants one thing and one wants another. But the discovery session really allows you to figure out if there's a good fit. And the client profile indicator can come before the discovery session so that they can answer the questions and really kind of do a self-assessment. Is this really what I want? So they've kind of sold themselves on what they want before they even talk to you. Those are a few tools. And so let's weigh in. And this is the drama mask, comedy and tragedy. And that's another nod to the emotions and storytelling. So on a scale of 1 to 5, where's your storytelling right now? Do you have a good story, but it's not quite where it needs to be? Or are you the type of person that when you tell the story about your business, everyone wants to gather around and they want to do more with you. So it's a good opportunity to really think about the CPR method, challenge, process, and result. And so that ties into your to-do, which is to write your challenge, process, result story. And if I were you, I would try to think about how you could do it in 30 seconds or 90 seconds. That sounds like, oh, way, way too short. But I think it's a good place to start, and you can kind of sum up what's going on. So here is the bonus that you've been waiting for. And what you're going to get is an ebook. It was written 10 years ago. It was a best-selling book, Social Media Secrets of the Superstar. Oh gosh, here it is. Success Secrets of the Social Media Marketing Superstars. Anyway, it was written 10 years ago, and I was asked to be the LinkedIn author. And this is the 2020 version. It's a great chapter, and I think it's going to help you a lot. So if you go to linkedinsuperstar.com, you can go ahead and leave your email. And when you leave your email, you'll be subscribed for more events like this, tips, tools, tactics, and just some fun along the way. So thank you for your consideration. Now, let's move on to the last part, which is data budget and ROI, return on investment. So when we think about return on investment, you know, there's a lot of different formulas. Probably the simplest one is if you put in $1, how much do you get back? You know, this is very basic, but if you put in $1 and you get $10 back, that's great ROI. But think about your time. How do you ever get that back? Can you get your time back? No, you can't get your time back. So I want you to think about your budget as time and money. And what you need to have is a plan in order to really optimize both. And this is a plan that I came up with. It's the Wired plan. And it starts with words, and words are very, very powerful. And with words, what we're going to talk about is your hashtags, your tagline, your SEO, your domain name. Really, how are you going to convey who you are and what you do in words? It could even be scripts for videos, blog posts, all kinds of things. The next part is intention. So who are you working with? What do you want to do for them? How do you want to help them? You know, what kind of financial services needs do you fulfill? The next is routes. And that's from a marketing term, what kind of routes are you going after? And you can get really lost in this. There's so many different places. I used to show this infographic with like 200 different social media channels alone. I stopped showing it because people were just, they just couldn't even take it. I couldn't either, it was too much. So with routes, you want to simplify, you need to have a website. LinkedIn would be great. If you have a blog, that would be good. I also love PR, which is public relations. I do a whole program on public relations. I feel like that's the sneaky path. Most companies really don't know how to use public relations, let alone business owners. It's a really undiscovered tool for getting visibility, credibility, attracting those leads. We won't get into that a lot today. But anyway, think about what routes you really want to go down. And then the experiences. And the experience, customer experience is overtaking the term customer service, the customer journey. The customer is becoming the centerpiece of business. Should have probably been that way all along, but in reading the American Marketing Association's findings, that's really where the focus is how is the customer experiencing the product or the service. So you need to think about customer experience from everything from how you interact with them to how your company interacts with them, and you know how they get messages from you. It's just really, really digging into that relationship. And once again, emotions are really important. So you want them to feel good when they hear from you. You want them to feel like, oh wow, I'm so happy they checked in. So you really want to work on having a good relationship that's vibrant and healthy and nurtured. The last part is design, which is the digital, direct, dynamic, and data that we already talked about. So how do you measure all this? You know, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So we'll just do some high level ones. One is engagement, and that's social media in a way. On social media, I guess it could also be if you're talking to someone and they don't reply very much, they're not very engaged, but we'll just use social. So it's not about likes on social, it's more about shares and comments. So if you can get a lot of people to comment or share, that means you have a lot of engagement. Reach is a tough one on social. All the networks have really crack down on organic reach. It's super hard to get. It used to be so easy. And in the early days, everything would just fly. It was so organic. It's not that way anymore. So you have to really look at how much can you do with reach. And one of the tips I'll give you is to look at what either your competitors or what kind of sites your clients might be interested in. What kind of reach are they getting? What's really popular there? So for instance, if you're working with, let's say you're working with families, what sites are they really looking at and how are people interacting? And then you can borrow or reshare that content. So that's a way to really help with reach. Leads are all along the way. I mean, that we talked about awareness at the top of the channel, that's a lead. So we really need to look at how many leads that you need. And I'm sure you all have a formula. I know when I was in insurance sales, I knew how many people I had to talk to, how many proposals, how many closures, all those things. And then conversions. Conversions is important because you can change your conversion. Even like if you have a landing page for your website, you can change things around so the conversion will be higher. And maybe with your sales conversations, there are a couple things you need to do to make your conversions higher. Even just a little tiny uptick in conversions can really incredibly increase your sales. So think about what you want to measure. What isn't on here is your time. And how much time do you really want to spend on marketing? Maybe you have someone who's on your team who does it for you. And some of it I think you should do yourself. So you need to figure out how much time do I really want to invest? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your ROI right now? Both in terms of time and money. If you're spending 2 hours a week on LinkedIn, are you getting anything out of it? And if the answer is no, why is that, do you think? What could you do to really increase your return on investment there? With ROI, as far as marketing investment, there are all different ways to spend marketing. And one of my jobs is to work with my clients to make sure that they invest the right way so that they get the highest ROI. I'm kind of like a financial advisor for marketing investments in a way, because I can't believe some of the ideas that they have. And really my goal is to really make sure they get the best return. And it's very fulfilling when that happens, because I don't want people to go out there and waste money. So really, where's yours right now on a scale of 1 to 5? So your to-do is to set your 2021 marketing budget in terms of time and money. Now, 2021 is just right around the corner. It may seem like, oh, it's weeks away. It is a few weeks away, but it's a good idea to really think about what you want to do and what you want to try out. One thing you might want to budget for is a membership. And I know I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, the American Marketing Association, and local organizations. So I feel like that's a good investment, not only in your community, but also in relationships. And if you are a member, make sure you get involved, and that time comes in again. So you have to be choosy about what you want to do. I know I volunteered to be a marketing person in a lot of organizations. It's been fun, very time intensive, but it's usually paid off in clients, and it's been really great ROI. So really set a time and budget for 2021. So what are you going to do now? Wow, we talked about so much, and you need a success plan. I mean, look at this person. They're doing so many different things here. So what kind of a success plan could you have? And I'm going to propose that your success plan is the Social Sales Pro Masterclass. So the Social Sales Pro Masterclass is a class that I created for a large company. And what they wanted to do is make it very succinct, a very essentials overview for their sales team. And I've been doing sales and marketing training since, oh gosh, my very first job. And as far as social media goes, I've been in 2 books. I do write an award-winning blog, wiredprworks.com. And I'm a trainer who had a 2-day digital branding course in Chicago, a live course. And so anyway, I'm really moving into the class area a little bit more with what I do. So let me just tell you a little bit about it. This is going to meet 4 times, November 10th, 17th, 24th, and December 1st. We'll start at 1 o'clock, probably go a half an hour, maybe a little longer with Q&A. The cost for it is $497. It's marked down from $797 just for Insurance WebEx. If you have a team that you want to bring aboard and you'd like to schedule this for your team, or if you have a retreat, then there is a scaling discount. So and also some customization can be added. But my goal is to really work with salespeople and help them feel comfortable so that they can be social sales pros. It's something that can take a lot of time, and time is, we can't get it back. And I know even for me, I love to learn, which is fantastic, but unless if I know exactly what success routes to go down, it's not going to happen. You can get yourself in this spiral where all you do is learn, 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 and you don't take a step ahead, or even worse, you just decide you're going to ignore it. So this is the kind of thing where you could even have someone on your team learn this and work with you. But it's more important than ever now that, we talked about at the beginning that more and more people are online, and they have discretionary income, and they do want to invest. So it's a great time to be out there selling insurance and financial products, but you need to be where they are, and you need to be really comfortable with being able to sell in a virtual hybrid format. So that is the Social Sales Pro Masterclass. And I would love to see you there. It's going to be 4 different sessions. We're going to have homework, and we will walk you through so that when you're done, you'll feel very, very confident, and you will really feel like you've got this. So you'll go from having low visibility, low leads, and low know-how to having great visibility, lots of leads, and you'll feel really confident that you've got this. So that is that. Thank you so much for joining us, and I am going to answer your questions now.